let's just sew whatever. We're gonna go ahead and get started on cutting out the frosted Aries bag. This is my own modification completely. So I've got webbing for the strap, crossbody strap. I have frosted jelly for the exterior, clear vinyl for the lining, and then I have a regular vinyl for the top binding and the connectors. Maybe I'll do frosted for the connectors, but we'll figure that out later. So we don't need all of these pieces, we just need a couple, and I will talk you through that. We need our main panel. We need the gusset exterior, yes. We don't need pocket pieces or the magnetic snap. We need the upper main panel lining, the lower main panel lining, and then we need the inner facing piece. Yes, and then we also need the 3/4 inch D-ring connector. You could use the 1 inch if you would prefer as well. 3/4 inch D-ring connector. Okay, so everything else we can put away. We're not going to need. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with our frosted pieces. Additionally, we're going to need to cut out our zipper panel, which is going to be 10 inches by 1.75 inches times 2 of the frosted vinyl. So we're going to need a 14-inch zipper and 2 9-inch zippers as well. So I'll go ahead and cut those super quick because I brought this over here. The 14-inch is for the top zipper. You can cut that a little bit longer if you'd like. Not 2 9-inch zippers. We're going to need, go ahead and cut 2 11-inch zippers. However wide this piece is. Yeah, I'll just do 11 inches so I have plenty. Originally I did 9 and added zipper tabs, but I ended up cutting out literally all of the zipper tabs. So I was like, well, all right, that was pointless. So 11 inches gives you plenty, a little bit to cut off. So that is it for that. So I'll get started on cutting our exterior. The rest of this is our lining. We don't need this. Okay. Exterior. After that, you're going to cut, I did 1.25 by, I think it was 32 inches. But basically what I did was I measured so 28 should be plenty. You could even cut it to 30. So 1 1/4 by 28 is another additional cut item. Okay. I'm done yapping. Let's get to cutting. So I've got this area here that looks like it'll be perfect. Yeah, okay. And then I'll be able to get my zipper tab, not zipper tabs, but my zipper panel out of this section. This is completely my own modification. This is inspired by Shannon's simple Aries bag modification, but it will be part of the Pisces Pack, her simplifications. So you could use that to kind of make this if you needed more of a visual and written. So I'm just very gently cutting out center snips, and this is our side panel, side gusset. Now we're going to need our lining out of this piece, so I'm just going to put it in my clear vinyl pile along with those. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and use the frosted vinyl for this because this is a nice little section. I know I said I was going to use it for my zippers, but we can just do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace around this with literally just a regular pen. And then trace the other one. Okay. I'll cut this and I'll lay this on another piece and cut that. And then I'll just tape these together. So when I get it to my machine, I'm going to very carefully stitch around that and then cut it out. So I'm not even taping it where I'm sewing it. I don't want the tape to show through that area. I'm just taping it together so they don't shift. And if you want to cut that a little bit smaller, you can, but this will be our strap connectors. I can put that piece away, or if you want to trace your rivet holes, you can. Alrighty, so now we can cut our main panel out of the exterior, and you can decide, you know, what you want it to look like. I'm going to kind of turn this a little bit so that it's not just a straight repeat. I'm just going to carefully cut. So that'll be our front. And I am just adding little tiny center snips, little tinies, little guys. Perfect. Nice little section up here to cut the other one out of. Alrighty, so that's it for the main panel. We don't need any interfacing, so I can just plop that away. If you did not want to add any kind of pockets to the lining of your bag, you could cut your lining out of that, but I do want to add lining to my bags. So we'll cut out that zipper panel. And then we're done with the exterior. Okay, so this is 1.75, two of these. And this will be kind of a raw edged zipper panel, so if you're not a huge fan of that, you could make some changes, but it worked fine, I think. So 10 inches wide. And then before I put this in my project bin, I'm gonna measure 1 inch on the back side and add some double-sided tape. Right here. So I'm just using a 1/2 inch piece of tape. So that's our zipper panel, no lining. If you were to add another layer of vinyl or something, it would just be way too thick. It's not necessary. So that's it for this vinyl that I can think of. Put that away. All right, lining time. So I decided to use a glitter vinyl instead of just a straight up clear vinyl because it's a little bit easier to see when you are sewing it. So that is my method behind that. So we're going to cut our gusset piece. And I'm going to turn this. Okay. And if you still have trouble seeing clear vinyl, you can use a Sharpie to kind of trace it and then cut it, or even a dry erase marker. The dry erase marker will erase away, Sharpie won't. But if you're going to be trimming your seam allowances, you're going to trim away the Sharpie lines. So if you need that, you can do that. That's all we need of the gusset piece. And now our lining. The other night when I made this, I did not line my zipper pocket, and that didn't do me any favors, just saying. So you're gonna need to do that. We do have to trim this down a little bit, but we can do that once we sew it together. So we're gonna cut the upper and the bottom. And this is where we're going to add our zipper pocket. And then this piece becomes the lining. Maybe, no, I thought it was good to add it. What change did I want to make though? Because I remember being like, ugh. So you do not want to cut 2 of these because you don't want the bulk of another layer of the clear in the seam allowance of that gusset. I think I'm going to just do it. And maybe I'll cut this straight, because you want it straight across so we can attach it. Literally last time I made it, it was a bit of a mess. So that's why I'm like, gotta do this, gotta do this. I could cut another one of these. The problem is I just have to trim it way down, so I'd rather not. So anyway. So we're gonna cut 2 each of these. If you, for some reason, don't want 2 zipper pockets, you could just cut the other one same as your exterior. But I think it's really cool to have the 2 separate zipper pockets, and it's so quick to make. And again, we'll just snip the bottom center of this while we're here. We don't need, well, couldn't hurt to do the top, but I don't think it's really going to make a difference. So that's one of those. And then we've got a nice straight side we can lay this on top of. And the reason I flipped that pattern piece over is because the acrylic template sticks well to the TPU. The paper, not so much. But I didn't feel like flipping that one over. So folding that in half, adding just the tiniest little snip. We are going to be adding a binding to the top of this, so it's like a drop-in, but easier slash harder. So that'll be fun. Alrighty, so we've got this little section over here that I can cut this top panel out of. Okay, so 2 of those. Nope, not that yet. We're done with this top panel. Now we need one more bottom. You can also add some double-sided tape to where the zipper is going to go if you'd like. While we're here, I think I will. And then I would just use 1/8 inch wide. And if your clear vinyl, your TPU, whatever you're using, isn't staying flat, you can press it like on a warm surface. I'm not gonna say you can iron it. You can heat press it because it'll melt and you could ruin the surface, but if you like heat up your ironing board and lay your vinyl on it, that could also potentially work. Okay, so those are my lining pieces there. We're done with this. We're going to cut 2 of the main body stabilizer out of the clear. I'm just cutting it with the curve. It'll work out, but the curve is not necessary on the top. Basically, we just want the rounded bottom of this so that it's smaller, but I'll put that there. So yeah, after we cut this, we're going to cut our binding, get our crossbody strap cut. I'll be adding a little scrap of vinyl to the ends of the strap. So I'll show you that. And this leftover is going to be good for little ID windows or stabilizing snaps, whatever you need to do. So this is, oh goodness, oh no, this is just a bunch of little pieces. Oh, it might be Guardian? Yeah, this might have been, I don't know, must have been scraps. Bummer. Okay. So there's that. And then one of these edges looks better, so I'm going to keep that uncut. And I'll cut little pieces to stabilize. These are going to be 1.5 by 1.5. So I've got my 3-inch wide ruler. And then I'll cut that in half. So we got 2 little squares. And we're just going to wrap this around the ends of our webbing. And so we can stitch that on just to help our strap last a little bit longer. Well, not that it wouldn't last, but gives it a bit of a cleaner finish. Can you talk? Do you know how? Okay. We can cut this bigger than we actually need, longer, and just trim off the excess. So not a big deal, but don't cut it wider than you need. So 1 1/4 is what we're doing. And then slow. And steady. Okay. And then we're going to measure 3/8 of an inch down the center. 3/8, no, 5/8. Yes. And then 1/4 inch wide double-sided tape. Kind of near the bottom, but mostly in the middle. That's it. We cut it all. We got our hardware. We don't need to interface anything. The clear vinyl is going to add as much interfacing as this bag's going to need. And the frosted vinyl has quite a bit of structure. So I hope you will join me in sewing this cute bag together. It's fairly quick. It took me forever to do the one I did, but that's because I messed it up. But fingers crossed, not again. So I hope you'll join me in putting it together, and I will see you then.